Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm your host Aditi Nagpal Girotra. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu on Friday inaugurated the 5th edition of the Aqua Aquaria India in Hyderabad. It's an event that's held every year. This time, the theme was taking Blue Revolution to India's Hinterland. The Blue Revolution is part of the government's efforts to promote fishing as an allied activity for farmers in order to double their incomes. The Blue Revolution, in fact, refers to an explosive growth in the aquaculture industry. And much like the Green Revolution, it is a huge focus area for the NDA government. As part of its efforts to raise seafood output and exports and promote sustainable aquaculture, the government has even constituted an independent ministry for fisheries. The union budget presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman this year also mentions the Blue Revolution. Today, in Depth, we consider how the Blue Revolution will help India realize its aquaculture potential and the challenges it needs to overcome this endeavor. While the government make a big push for strengthening country's fisheries sector, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has called for development of aquaculture. He reiterated that India has a huge potential for growth of fisheries and aquaculture, which could become vehicles of socio-economic development and lead to enhancement of farmers' income. Here's a report.
India is making efforts to ring in a fresh blue revolution, pushing for strengthening country's fisheries sector. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Friday called for promoting aquaculture in the country, with focus on sustainability and conservation. At the opening of 5th Aqua Aquaria India, India's international aquaculture show in Hyderabad, the Vice President highlighted the huge potential for its growth in India. India is today the second largest fish producer in the world, and fisheries contribute 1% to the country's GDP.
Fish constitute about 10% of our total exports from India and almost 20% of agriculture exports in 17-18. With export earnings of $7 billion, India is the 4th largest exporter of fish in the world. Still, there is a lot of scope for improving our exports also. Apart from exporting marine products worth more than 47,600 crores, the sector also provides employment opportunities to more than 14.5 million people residing in remote villages of the Indian coast. Contribution of fisheries to the GDP is about 1% and about 5.37% to the agriculture GDP.
Vice President Naidu said that it is a matter of great concern that India is able to exploit only a fraction of the aquaculture potential available to it. India uses only about 40% of the available ponds, tanks and other water bodies for freshwater aquaculture, 15% of total potential of brackish water resources. The Vice President called for efforts to utilize India's long coastline to develop mariculture. That involves cultivation of marine organisms in the open ocean or enclosed spaces filled with seawater.
It is a matter of great concern that India exploits only a fraction of the aquaculture potential that is available to it. There is room for both horizontal and vertical expansion of these sectors. With over 8,000 kilometers of coastline, there is immense potential for the development of mariculture, which has taken roots only in recent years with culture of mussels and oysters.
Terming fisheries essential to ensuring the prosperity of the farmers and enhancement of their income, Vice President Naidu said that aquaculture can play a huge role in socio-economic development. At the same time, Vice President Naidu warned against reckless exploitation of limited resources, exploitation of endangered marine species, discharge of harmful substances like plastics and other waste into water bodies that cause devastating consequences for aquatic life. The Vice President also emphasized the need to respond to climate change challenges for sustainable aquaculture.
Considering the substantial contribution of aquaculture makes towards socio-economic development in terms of income and employment through the use of underutilized resources in several regions of the country, environmentally friendly aquaculture has been accepted as a vehicle for rural development, food and nutritional security for the rural masses. The looming threat of global warming and climate change would certainly have adverse effects on marine and aquatic habitats and life norms. There is a need to respond to climate change in a coordinated manner across all food systems to ensure opportunities are maximized and negative impacts are reduced and to secure food and livelihood provision.
Naidu also laid stress on promotion, regulation and monitoring of responsible fishing practices. He urged authorities to ensure that economic benefits from aquaculture reach the primary producers, fishermen and fish farmers. The development of fisheries has been key to the government's target to double farmers' income by 2022. In the latest budget, the government allocated an estimated 3,737 crore rupees for newly carved out Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
So what exactly is the Blue Revolution? It refers to the time of intense growth in the worldwide aquaculture industry from the mid-1960s to the present day. The aquaculture industry has been growing at an average rate of 9% a year, and India is one of the fastest growers in this industry. But like much of the world, India's fisheries sector too faces the challenge of sustainability. Let's now understand what the Blue Revolution is and what its objectives are.
The rapid increase in the production of fish and marine product through a package program is known as the Blue Revolution. It was launched in India during the 7th five-year plan that went from 1985 to 1990. It has brought improvement in aquaculture by adopting new techniques of fish breeding, fish rearing, fish marketing and fish export. Fishing is the primary source of livelihood for several communities in India, and the country is the world's second largest fish producer with exports worth more than 47,000 crore rupees. Fisheries are, in fact, India's single largest agriculture export with a growth rate of 6 to 10% in the last 5 years. In comparison, the growth rate of the farm sector in the same period is around 2.5%. But India's fisheries sector is facing the challenge of sustainability, much like the rest of the world. The Food and Agriculture Organization points out that nearly 90% of the global marine fish stocks have either been fully exploited or overfished or depleted to an extent that recovery may not be biologically possible.
We have got a coastline of 7,500 kilometers. And also we have got ample number of water bodies within the country, maybe around 5 lakh water bodies. So there is a ample scope. It has been expected that around 10 trillion dollar economy could be there with this much potential is there in this blue economy. We can grow to the extent of $10 trillion economy. Is against $2.7 trillion today with the help of the blue economy.
So the focus of the Blue Revolution 2.0 is on development and management of fisheries. This covers inland fisheries, aquaculture, marine fisheries including deep sea fishing, mariculture and all activities undertaken by the National Fisheries Development Board.
Blue economy, which is basically aquatic or water based, remains untapped mostly, and the potential is too huge because you have both the ocean on all the three sides in the peninsular region of India, and also you have freshwater resources in a very, very big way. So in order to exploit them, we need a lot of logistics, technology and other things to exploit this potential.
Blue Revolution 2.0 or Neel Kranti mission aims to achieve economic prosperity of fishers and fish farmers. This is aimed to be done by developing fisheries in a sustainable manner, keeping in view biosecurity and environmental concerns. The program has certain objectives. These include fully tapping the total fish potential of the country, both in the inland and the marine sector, and triple production by 2020. Transforming the fisheries sector as a modern industry with special focus on new technologies and processes, doubling the income of fishers and fish farmers with special focus on increasing productivity and better post-harvest marketing infrastructure, including e-commerce and other technologies and global best innovations. Ensuring inclusive participation of fishers and fish farmers in the income enhancement, tripling export earnings by 2020 with focus on benefits flow to fishers and fish farmers, and enhancing food and nutritional security of the country. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In the 1960s, India made headlines with Green Revolution, using improved technology to more than double its output of wheat between 1965 and 1972. Today, India is pushing ahead with the Blue Revolution, the rapid increase of fish production in small ponds and water bodies. Fish production has increased more than fivefold since India's independence and is a major industry in the coastal states. Take a look at the efforts made by the government over the years to improve the fisheries sector.
Fishing and fishermen. Fishing and fishermen communities are closely aligned with farming and are crucial to rural India. Through a focused scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, the Department of Fisheries will establish a robust fisheries management framework. This will address critical gaps in the value chain, including infrastructure modernization, traceability, production, productivity, post-harvest management, and quality control.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announcing plans to launch the Matsya Sampada Yojana in the Modi government's first budget of its second term. The scheme is aimed to turn India into a hotspot for fish and aquatic products through appropriate policy, marketing and infrastructure support. With this scheme, the government intends to bring all fishermen under the ambit of farmer welfare programs and social security schemes. The new scheme has been introduced under the newly established Department of Fisheries announced by the government in its interim budget this year. The government has allocated 804.75 crore rupees for the fisheries sector in the current fiscal. Its aim is to augment fish production to achieve its target of 15 million tons by 2020 under the Blue Revolution and raise it thereafter to about 20 million tons by 2022-2023.
There is immense potential of having so much water bodies in our country, which is around 5 lakh water bodies. Except this, we have also initiated under the Manrega to develop the farm ponds. So the farmers are having the farm ponds. Those farm ponds are supplementing the water for the irrigation purposes, where the as on date around 1 to 1.25 ton per hectare is the agriculture production, and coupled with the water availability that can grow to the tune of 2.5 to 2.6 lakh per ton, to 2.5 per ton per hectare. So with this thing, the productivity got enhanced. At the same time, they are also having the pisciculture in their farm ponds. So this is an added income which they are getting.
Creating a separate department for fisheries is a significant step as fishing remains a primary source of livelihood for several communities. The fisheries and aquaculture production contribute around 1% to India's GDP and over 5% to the agricultural GDP. India has a marine fisher population of 3.5 million, with over 10.5 million people engaged in inland fishery and fish farming. At 4.7 million tons per annum, India is the world's second largest fish producer with exports worth more than 47,000 crore rupees. In aquaculture production, India is only behind China, which has an annual production of 60 million tons. Fisheries are the country's single largest agriculture export with a growth rate of 6 to 10% in the last 5 years. Its significance is underscored by the fact that the growth rate of the farm sector in the same period is around 2.5%. India's first Blue Revolution was launched during the 7th five-year plan from 1985 to 1990, during which the government sponsored the Fish Farmers Development Agency. The FFDA brought improvement in aquaculture by adopting new techniques of fish breeding, rearing, marketing and export. During the 8th five-year plan from 1992 to 1997, the intensive marine fisheries program was launched, in which collaboration with multinational companies was encouraged. Over a period of time, fishing harbours in Tuticorin, Porbandar, Honavar, Visakhapatnam, Kochi and Port Blair were established. A number of research centres have also been set up to increase the production and improvement in species. The initiative once again picked up pace after the Modi government took over in 2014 to transform the fisheries sector with increased investment, better training and infrastructure. The Indian fisheries sector, which produced only 60,000 tons of fish 50 years ago, produces 4.7 million tons, including 1.6 million tons from freshwater aquaculture today. India recorded an average annual growth of 14.8% in production of fish and fish products in the last decade, as compared to the global average of 7.5% in the same period. The $232 billion fish and fish-related products global industry is expanding at a rate of 6% annually, and India has huge potential to meet this ever-increasing demand. India exported fish worth 45,000 crore rupees in 2017-18 and has the potential to scale up this figure to 4,50,000 crore rupees. On the domestic front, India's long coastline has the potential of becoming the strength of the economy, particularly through the exploitation of the Blue Revolution. Another aspect of Blue Revolution is the goal of improving the income of the country's aquaculture workers and fishers. The government has set the goal of doubling all farmers' income by 2022, and the Blue Revolution program can play an important role in that effort. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Today's fast multiplying human population presents the challenge of producing nutritional food to sustain it. Aquaculture is a solution that is being recognized worldwide. Aquaculture has long been practiced in China and other places in Eastern Asia, where freshwater fish have been grown as food in managed ponds for thousands of years. More details in this report.
Blue Revolution refers to the time of intense growth in the worldwide aquaculture industry from mid-1960s to present. The aquaculture industry has been growing at an average rate of 9% a year. Worldwide aquaculture production has now reached 50 million tons, up from 2 million in 1950. This impressive development has been driven by a combination of population growth, rising incomes and urbanization. It has also been facilitated by a strong expansion of fish production and more efficient distribution channels. Aquaculture provides a valuable source of nutrition and employment to people throughout the world. Fisheries and aquaculture provide 4.3 billion people with over 15% of their annual animal protein consumption and are a vital source of micronutrients and essential lipids.
We need those sorts of vessels. We need we have got the capability. I'll tell you, so many countries, those are on the Indian Ocean rim, they are finding the potential to the tune of around $1.2 trillion, and we are not getting that much share out of this. I think the potential is immense. We need to develop more scientifically the fishing system, as well as their freezing, their packaging and then their export.
Some 880 million people are employed in fish farming. From salmon cages in Norway to prawn ponds in Thailand, Employment in the fisheries sector has grown faster than the world's population and faster than employment in traditional agriculture. Fish and seafood are one of the most traded food commodities. Over 53% of the trade originates in developing countries. The Blue Revolution first began in China, where fishing is an ancient activity. China accounts for around 2/3 of total aquaculture production worldwide by weight and roughly half by market value. Asian countries contribute over 90% to aquaculture worldwide. China itself contributes more than 70%. Currently, the USA is the largest market for Indian seafood products with a share of 26.46% in terms of India's exports of marine products, followed by Southeast Asian countries 25.71% and European Union nations 20.08%. The top 10 species of fish caught with aquaculture include carps and other oysters, salmons, trouts, shrimps and prawns among others.
Transport of goods, both on the freshwater as well as the sea waters, can happen. In the sense that, for example, right now from Banaras to Calcutta, if you recall, recently the Prime Minister had flagged off the cargo on the freshwater movement. That will also de-stress your roads, airways, highways, and also your shipping lines can be developed across both the east coast as well as west coast. Across up to Sri Lanka, you can go across northeast, then you can go to Southeast Asia, including Burma, then you can go to Bangladesh, you can go up to Thailand. From Thailand, your potential is so huge that you can go up to China.
Freshwater fish are also cultivated in North America and Europe. Most commonly grown are species of trout, especially brook trout and rainbow trout. Fewer species and quantities of fish are grown under brackish water conditions in Asia, but they include the milkfish. Brackish and saltwater fish farming are larger enterprises in Northern Europe, North America and Western South America and New Zealand, where species of trout and salmon are commonly cultivated. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us today in In-Depth. We'll be back same time on Monday with a focus on some other subject. In case you missed the television broadcast, you can also watch our program online on YouTube, the link for which is given below. Suggestions and feedback about the program are also welcome. Thank you for your time.